to see. Bishop Evans and myself, we did a video for the Candor Conference. It aired sometime earlier this last month, and we're so excited to share the whole clip with you. They had to knock it down to about 10 minutes to fit their platform. We're going to show you the whole entire thing. As Bishop Evans and I had a heart-to-heart conversation about succession planning, about how he came to the church, how I came to the church, and how God merged our past together to the present, but also a look into the future about what God is trying to do. Understand something, pastors. You need somebody that you can pass the baton to. Our job is to continue the work long after we have left this earth for the glory of God, so that the next generation has a Joshua, has Elisha, somebody to follow. So you guys tune in. We hope you enjoy it. Give us your feedback, and we hope that it blesses you. Share it with other pastors, other leaders, so they can know about the power of succession planning, as we have a very candid conversation, a very open and honest conversation about what God is doing here at Bethany and our relationship as it relates to the succession of this church. God bless you guys. See you soon. Hope you enjoy it. So Bishop, they want us to talk about our relationship, our management styles, our leadership flow.
Okay.
And I came here your first Easter in 1991.
Wow.
Yeah, a long time.
Wow.
That's the first time we came to the church. And we joined a few months after. My mom brought us. She heard about this church.
Mm-hmm.
We had, since my grandparents moved down south to South Carolina, we really weren't going as much. And then we heard about Bethany Baptist Church. We came, joined a few months later, got real saved. But I was in church all my life, but I got saved.
Yeah.
Came to faith
Yeah.
here at Bethany a few months after that. So you started in 1990. Maybe you can tell everybody about your experience in the beginning, and we can take the conversation from there.
We had a troublesome church. I tell people humorously, I was the 5th pastor in 23 years. The congregation was 4-0. They were undefeated. They killed 2 and put 2 in the grave. They put 2 in the grave and they put 2 in retirement. And it was a place that was board-driven, board-run, and it did not thrive. It was a cold place. It was a non-biblical place. It was just one of those places that you usually send a preacher to die. But felt as though God had sent me, and then the church began to explode, and it's a historic rise. It just exploded like nothing we'd ever seen in southern New Jersey. And then, people started to come. Yeah. Little did I know when Nick came that our backgrounds were so similar.
Right.
You know, his dad left stuff to be desired. My dad left a whole lot of stuff to be desired. We both had strong mothers who raised family by herself and worked hard, and we gave each of our mothers a degree of difficulty. But never so much difficulty that we couldn't be corrected. And then I think he comes along at 8 years old.
I was almost 10, I think.
Almost 10?
Yeah.
Okay, I got to stop lying all these years.
No, it's okay.
I've been telling people 8.
I forget age too.
He comes along at 10 years old, and I'm a 38-year-old pastor, and the relationship just began. He had this curiosity about things church. I didn't know that until just now that you had spent a lot of your life in church. I didn't realize that.
The first beginning years, my grandparents made sure we were in church from birth all the way up until when they moved to South Carolina.
Wow.
And my mom we kind of in and out.
And I never realized they used to live here.
Yeah, they used to live in about 10 minutes from here.
I never realized it. Whenever I think of them, I think of them as always lived down south. Because as long as I've been knowing you, you guys have been going south to see them.
Yeah, they grew up down south, moved up here for work. My grandfather worked in the Navy shipyard.
Did he?
Then once he retired, they decided to move back.
This is crazy. My stepdad worked in the shipyard for 30 years.
Really? Yeah, the Navy shipyard in Philadelphia.
They might have known each other.
Yeah, right in Philadelphia.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, and Nick had this curiosity about this foundation that just wouldn't be hidden. He was curious about everything, just what's happening in the office and what's following me up the hallway.
That's
and
true.
It was really strange, but and I realized early that there was something different about you.
Okay.
And again, another similarity. My grandmother never had to bribe me in church.
That's true. Yeah, me neither. Yeah.
She didn't have to give me candy to keep me still.
Yeah.
She didn't have to, chastise me. I came to church with her, sat there, and I was absorbed by the whole environment.
Right.
And I saw the same thing in you.
Okay.
Just having that comfort level.
Yeah.
In God's house, and that's not a plentiful thing. It's a rare thing.
It is. Very.
That's exhibited early on. What first impacted you about coming to the church?
Well,
As a kid.
as a kid,
Yeah.
I remember the first Easter. Then my second memory was funny. My very first interaction with you, I got in trouble. so this is a common theme somewhat. Me and my younger brother were. It was during service.
Okay.
We were in the lobby of the old church. This is when you still wore robes. You had your black robe on.
Okay.
I remember to this day. We were spinning pennies in the hallway.
Okay.
And you came down the hallway to come out into the lobby, and you saw us in there playing in the lobby, and your first thing, what y'all doing spinning pennies? Go back in church. My first interaction was correction.
Oh no.
And we just sit there like, oh, I'm sorry. But I learned from that that we took the correction, we went back in, and from that moment, I just remember wanting to be, it was something about that church, this church, that I needed to be here. And that connection to you. I felt a father. It wasn't like a corrective, like judging. It was like, I love you.
Yeah.
Stop doing this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Type of thing. So for some reason, I just kept being almost like Ruth and Naomi.
Okay.
Drawn to the church, drawn to you. And I remember those days, following you around.
Oh yeah.
Asking you questions.
Oh man.
This curiosity of.
You guys don't understand.
I wanted to know everything. I was like, so why did you do this? How was this?
He would come into my office, sit in the chair, swing his legs. What are you doing? Like nothing. Just sitting there. Just if I went out of the office, he went out. If I came back, he came back.
Yeah.
And then I think what I tried to do with you was to make sure you had a normal teenager's life at the church.
That's true.
At the same time, trying to keep you focused on where I thought God was taking you.
True.
I didn't want to take your young years away from you.
Yep.
Because I think a lot of us in church, we don't believe you can live and be saved at the same time.
That's true. Yep.
So, it wasn't a situation where when you made a mistake, I tried to kill you.
Right.
I just brought you in, sat down, talked to you.
Yeah.
And, I just saw such a future for you.
Yeah, that's true. I remember when I wanted to go to my high school prom, because there's some churches that tell their kids, don't go to the prom because so-and-so, and I asked you, he was like, oh, go ahead, go to the prom. I was like, oh, wow, I can, just don't do what everybody else was doing.
I thought of you as my own child.
Yeah.
And I was concerned about your development. I wanted you to actually love the church and the Lord by the time you got to be 20, 21 years old. Yeah. So it was not a gamble as much as it was trying to manage the call that I thought you had with the fact that you needed to live a normal life.
Right.
And that balance is sometimes hard to achieve.
Yeah, and especially raising up young kids in church. I know for me, growing up in church, I understood to a certain degree what Michael Jackson felt like.
Okay.
In the sense of your life is so involved in one arena that while my friends were going to clubs, I was at church.
Yeah.
While my friends was going to parties,
Absolutely.
I was coming to church.
Absolutely.
And I was fine with it through my teenage years. But then you get a little older and realize, oh my God, I missed out on all this stuff.
Yeah, I might have missed a few things.
Yeah, but then realizing you didn't miss out on that much.
No,
you missed out on some headaches
and it was why when you came to me about the prom thing, I'm like, he's got to do this.
Yeah.
This is not going to send him to hell. He's got to do this.
Yeah.
You can't live the rest of your life wishing you had gone to your own prom.
Right, exactly, Because it wasn't going to a club, it was just prom.
And my mom did the same thing with us. My grandparents would save, sure enough, save. So we had those principles in our homes.
Right.
But my mother and my grandparents were very wise in what they exposed us to. What did you? There was never a time. There was one time when people saw his development and tried to impede it.
Yeah.
And because he was young at the time, and impressionable people came to him and literally, I guess, tried to turn you against me.
Yeah. Totally.
And I remember being home one morning, and I heard God, and I'm not a spooky pastor, I heard God say, call Nick, take him to breakfast.
Yeah.
Called you, you were available.
Yep.
We went and sat in the diner, I don't know how long.
Long time. Long time.
And just started talking.
Yeah.
And I think from that day, that's the day I remember as a pivotal day.
It was, yeah.
In our relationship. And I also realized how, what God had for you.
Right.
And what adults were willing to do
Yeah.
to hinder where you'd been. And what amazes me, none of the people that tried to hinder you are anywhere near where you are today.
That's true. They're not. They're not.
So they were saboteurs. They were, they came to break the relationship. But I think it was a relationship they wanted.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
But sometimes people want honor, but they don't want to do what they have to do to
Right.
get the honor.
Right. And the people that did it, they gave the impression that their relationship with you was greater than actually what it was. So I assume because they were there longer,
Yeah.
you had this great relationship.
Yeah,
and,
no.
and in the young mind.
Didn't like them at all.
Yeah.
I didn't like them at all.
I know. In the young mind. But you know what's crazy too? I knew I was called to preach at a young age.
Okay.
I always knew since I was a child.
Okay.
And as my teenage years, I knew I was called to pastor.
Wow.
And I was thinking, I was like, one day I'm gonna start a church.
This is uncanny.
And I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna call it. And I'm thinking of names, right?
Yeah.
15, 16 years old, just crazy.
Yeah.
And then one time we were at church. Somebody from New Strength came up to me. I remember to this day, we were in a sanctuary.
Wow.
And he said, one day Bishop is going to give you this church.
Wow.
And when he said that, something clicked in me. I said, that's why I could never see myself not being in this place.
Wow.
And, again, we're not spooky people.
No.
But it connected with something inside of me that this is where I'm supposed to be.
This is the place for you.
Right.
This is the environment.
Yeah.
These are the relationships.
Yep.
And here's the influence.
Yep.
I think what I'm really blown away by is the fact that they tell me that when I signed other people's yearbooks at 16, graduating from high school, I signed, because we were supposed to say what we were going to do in the future,
Yeah.
I signed it as being a pastor.
Really?
Yes. At 16. This is blowing my
Wow.
mind.
Yeah.
And it took, I think, Lancelot Pike, the third,
Okay.
to remind me that I had signed on. I was signing books that I was going to be a pastor in the future
Wow.
at 16 years old.
Wow.
And what's crazy
Yeah.
is my foundational church was Bethany, and I'm pastoring Bethany.
Bethany. Wow.
So Bethany
Yeah.
in Chester.
Yeah.
My grandmother was a member of Bethany in West Philly,
Yeah.
and now I'm pastoring Bethany Church.
Wow. That's crazy. And to me, I always say it, we say a lot, what looks like coincidence to us is God's providence.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's not coincidental that our paths cross like this. So
It's destiny.
Yeah, it's destiny. And I still remember that time when we moved into this current facility. You pulled me into the hallway, said, Nick, I need to talk to you about something.
Okay.
Come see me when you get a chance. I said, cool.
Okay.
No, first they told me when I was gonna get licensed. I didn't expect it at all.
Okay.
And it was like, you want license? Like, license me? I was like, I'm not ready yet. I wasn't pushing for it. I was good. So got licensed.
That's why you were candidate,
Right, yeah,
because you weren't pushing for it.
Right. I'm like, whatever. I'm just going to class. I'm having a good time learning.
Yeah.
And then when you asked me if I wanted to be the executive pastor here, I was like, he was like, just go home and pray about it. And something in me was like, yes. I said, let me go pray about it first and think about it. And that began our working relationship.
Absolutely.
On top of the relationship that we had already.
Yeah.
And what I've learned was, while we're different in unique ways, because you're you and I'm me, we have a lot of similarities.
Absolutely.
Which allows us to work together in a lot of ways.
And it is, I can say this without equivocation, it is the envy of my peers.
Okay.
They all talk about having a Nick.
Okay.
But I'm not sure that many pastors have the patience to organically grow a son.
Right.
A lot of times we bring them in from outside. Not saying anything negative about it,
Right.
but I believe an organically grown individual, I believe is more connected,
Right.
has a greater sense. I think the relationship can be stronger because it required that I spend a lot of time with you during the years.
Yeah.
And then again, you tell me that a lot of your peers, your contemporaries, don't have access like you have,
No,
which I find to be incredible.
Yeah, because like literally, we talk on Monday nights before class, in between another class. I know guaranteed Wednesday we're going to have a conversation.
Right.
And Sunday we're going to have a conversation.
Absolutely.
And somewhere in between there,
We're going to talk to each other
we're
anyway.
going to, we're going to talk anyway,
Yeah.
even for a short time.
And you know what? I hate texting you and stuff when you're not working.
Really?
Yeah. Oh,
I love to hear from you, though.
Man, I'm like, he's home. He's probably got the kids. I don't want to do it. So I'm real protective of you getting too much of this before you get too much of it.
Really?
Because there's coming a day when you're going to have too much of it.
But that's how I feel about you.
Okay.
I'm like, I want to call him. I said, man, but he got so much going on. He got grandkids. I'm like, I'll talk to him on Wednesday when I see him. Because sometimes, like, let's just talk.
Yeah.
Because I want to feel where your brain is on certain places.
And it, sometimes, one of the many blessings of you being by my side all these years has been that the generation that I can mentor and father is not the generation who I speak the same language with.
Okay.
And you have been remarkable in keeping me connected.
Yeah.
He has the privilege of correcting me. He has the privilege of telling me my idea ain't gonna work. He has the privilege of telling me, okay, that'll work, that won't. We might not want to do that. He's real diplomatic about it. But the fact of the matter is, we have this platform where we can approach each other about anything.
Right.
And difficult times and good times, and I think it's made all the difference in the world.
And I think you hit the nail on the head. The success of our relationship is the ability to be open.
Absolutely.
Even tough conversations.
Absolutely.
The ability to say, let's talk this thing out like mature adults. You know, because I've learned you're as I get older, you're dealing with me not just as that teenager, as a man slash son now.
Yep.
And you know, before you would say certain things, you wouldn't say certain things to me. I'm a little older now, so I get a little, I get a little different conversation now.
Getting the unedited version at this point.
But that openness, and I think our willingness to people. I still remember to this day when I first came on. Me and you, people don't think me and him talk a lot about ideas.
Which is one of the most ridiculous assumptions.
Crazy.
Just.
So I came up with an idea. I talked to a person. We need to do this thing, and the individual told me it's not going to work. This is what, like, the first year of me doing the job.
Wow.
Said it's not going to work, and I didn't tell them. Me and you discussed this. That you gave me this idea. Said let's do this.
Okay.
And I didn't tell it came from you.
Okay.
And I said no, it's going to work. It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
The event happened. Great success.
Yeah.
Oh, Pastor, that was great. And so and so. And everything in me wouldn't look at them and say, I thought you said it wasn't going to work. But they didn't realize that we had this conversation already.
Yeah.
And said, Nick, I want you to put this on. Let's go with it.
I think it's almost like a marriage in that without communication, the thing fails. And I think that's been one of the strengths we've been able to have, especially I think the fact that I've been very, very focused on sharing my strengths, but also sharing my struggles,
Right.
so you can learn how to win.
Yeah.
I haven't been a pastor who tries to tell him how to do the wrong thing.
Right.
That's not the kind of standard that we've set as leaders. We've set standards that I believe we don't have to be fake or false.
Right.
With one another. I don't try to convince him how to do something wrong.
Right.
We just don't relate that way.
Right.
And I think what has happened is that the love of God can be felt by the people of this church as it relates to their leadership.
That's true. That's right.
And I think that's been intentional.
Yeah.
I've tried to share my process
Right. Yep.
with him. They have called him Little Bishop, but I've never tried to make him me.
Right.
I've only tried to, it's like going to math class. You learn the things the math teacher teaches you, but you keep your personality. You know, so it's been, I think it's been a tremendous ride. And we've gone through some difficult seasons.
Yeah.
You know, we've been through some seasons, some challenging seasons with the church, and you know, and then here we are 2 years ago, rebranding the entire ministry, because I'm 67, so you know, my time is coming to a close but I don't want him to inherit the church that needs correcting. I want him to inherit the church that has been corrected.
Right.
Making sure that he gets a church that is operating with relevance and in a contemporary setting, rather than the historic setting that I started in.
Yeah, that's good. So a lot of people, were interested in why you started your succession plan so early.
Okay.
So can you kind of share your thought process? Because this was back in 2004. You told me about this. It's 2019 now. What made? Because again, most pastors, they start either they don't start at all.
Well, they don't.
Or they start like a 3 months beforehand. What made you want to start so early?
I think pastors are like professional athletes. They always think they have one more season in them.
Right. Yeah.
Even though the knees are hurting.
Right. Yeah.
And I felt like I saw some of my peers at the time, and none of them had anything planned for if something happened to them.
Okay.
Didn't have key man insurance on their life.
Yeah.
Didn't have anybody that could step in. It was almost as though there was a subconscious desire for the ministry to fail once they faded.
Wow.
Because that's the only reason I would think that you wouldn't prepare for someone else to take over.
Yeah.
So I started early because, number one, I knew you were years away from what you needed to be to get this done, and I knew we couldn't develop you over a 12-month period.
That's true.
And I knew there were some things that were going to be learned by instruction, other things by immersion, other things by experience, and some things by failure.
Absolutely.
So that wasn't going to be a 10-minute process.
Right.
So I had it in my head that, I learned something last week. All of us as pastors are interim pastors.
That's true. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, because we all,
Whether it's a 20-year interim, 30-year interim, all of us are interims.
Right.
And I think that our church has been such a blessing.
Right.
That it was my goal was to leave you a church that's operating well, not something you have to fix 3 tires on the car and tune the engine up. I want it running and popping and doing what it needs to do the day you step in.
That's true. And for me, that part of leaving legacy, the church and everything, I appreciate that. But what I appreciate the most actually is the relationship.
Absolutely.
To me, the relationship is more important than the church.
Well, the reason I've spent the time with you is because you're more important to me than the ministry.
Right. Yeah.
And I think a lot of times, and I experienced this myself, I didn't think I had that kind of importance to my previous pastors.
Wow.
Our philosophy is the ministry is here to build the people. Right. The people are not here to build the ministry.
Right.
So my thing for you was I wanted, if you didn't become a preacher, if you didn't become, fulfill your call, it was more important to me that you be the kind of man you become.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
The kind of father you become, the kind of husband you become. That was what was important to me.
Yeah. And I'm glad that is, and that's something I tell him constantly. I'm so glad that you require me to be a good man.
Absolutely.
More than a good preacher.
Absolutely.
Because to me, like you said, being a good man will make you a better preacher.
Absolutely. Your discipleship impacts every role in your life.
Yeah. And that's what I appreciate the most. It reminds me of Elisha and Elijah. When Elijah went up, Elisha didn't say my master. He said my father.
That's
the
right.
relationship was important. Now he wanted the mantle now, but the relationship was more important than the mantle.
And I think that to hand the church to an individual that you know is not ready to handle every aspect of it.
Right.
Preaching is like 10% of what you're going to do.
Yeah.
It's the people.
Yeah.
That you need to have a quote unquote master's degree in when you take over.
It's true.
You need a PhD in and that to me is more important that if you fail with the people, you're going to fail. I'm not worried about your preaching.
Right. Yeah.
But if you can't handle the pressures of the people, the stresses of counseling, the stresses of being disappointed, the stresses of people walking away, the stresses of people not understanding what a passionate call is all about, then I've failed you completely.
Absolutely. That's true.
So he's been able to see me up, down, in the middle, feel like it, don't feel like it, tired, rested, frustrated, happy. He's seen it all.
Seen it all. We both cried in front of each other before.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But the good thing is that we gotta come to a close. I think we've been talking for
Yeah, we've been talking too long.
too long. My kids love you.
Oh my God.
And they run in as soon as we pass by the office. Their first thing is they go. I'm like, he's not here right now. We'll see him later. And I think to me that not having a father in the home is important for my kids to be able to see. Like I was close to my grandfather.
Okay.
And I think it's important for them to be able to understand that while they don't have a biological grandfather on my side, they got another man that has stepped in.
Yep.
That can help fill
Yep.
that spot for them.
And that's a bigger concern for me, is that should something, and it's not, but should something happen to you, Tiffany and your children will never have anything to worry about.
Yep.
And that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And I think that legacy for me in your life is greater than the legacy of this ministry.
Absolutely.
Because Jules and my baby girl,
Olivia.
Olivia, but see, they were spoiled.
Yeah.
His wife is very, very jealous of the relationship I have with the children, but she forgets the relationship she had with me.
Right. Yeah.
I gave them all total access to me all the time.
Yeah.
Still
do.
For a lot of my contemporaries, they don't do that.
Yeah. Well, I hope you guys learned a lot. I'm sorry, we talked for a minute, but this was actually good.
You guys said you were going to edit it.
Yes. But we appreciate you guys. We hope that you learned a lot from our discussion. And Bishop, I love you and I appreciate you as always.
Love you too, man.
And hope we continue this openness. And
Absolutely.
Thank you, Candor. We hope you guys enjoyed this. And if you want to, you can check out our website. Go to the number 2, Bethany.com. You can look up all of our social media platforms at BBC of NJ, as well as David G. Evans.
You know what? I need to say something.
What's up?
My mother passed away 10 years ago, and I was in a place where all I could really do was preach on Sunday and teach on Wednesday. And Nick stepped in and ran the church behind the scenes for 2 years until I got myself together. He was glad when I got myself together, but just to have someone who stepped in and allowed me to mourn like a son instead of a professional. Right. I have never forgotten it. Yeah. It always brings great passion and feeling to my heart to know that he was there. And it's another reason that I'm so committed to his success as a man as well as a minister. Yeah.
And the same thing too, like the past 2 years, past 3 years been rough for me.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
And I just appreciate you being there to help me along this way. So I think that's why our relationship works.
Absolutely, man.
We don't mind carrying each other. And to me, it's a privilege.
You don't know you have a friend until you get in trouble.
There you go. There you go. So senior pastors, executive pastors, we really highly suggest you guys talk. Try to have a great relationship as much as possible. It's greater than just ministry.
Yeah.
It's also great personal too. So thank you guys.
Be intentional.
Be intentional. There you go. About building. So God bless you all. Again, look us up on social media if you can. We'd love to have you come one time if you're in the New Jersey area to come worship with us.
Come see us.
We'd love to have you. God bless you.